Welcome to Industrial Challenge. What we're looking at today? Here's eFIXX.
We're looking at control stations from Hylec.
Emergency stops.
Key switches, etc. And from personal experience, I noticed this box here at the front. What size holes would you need to drill in this box in order to facilitate stop buttons, start buttons and key switches? Routledge, eFIXX.
Well, that would be 22 millimeters, Gary.
It would be 22 millimeters, and why is that such a painful experience possibly to electricians?
Because 22 millimeters is a size you're not likely to find in an electrician's hole saw kit.
Now you're likely to find 20, 25 mil, and you're probably walking around looking for a plumber to get a 22 mil one.
Yeah, and that can be a painful situation. We don't have to go to the world of plumbing, and if anyone knows why all push buttons, regardless of the range, we've got this range from Hylec, but why they're all 22 millimeters, drop a comment below. I'm sure there's an interesting bit of history, but we can make your life a little bit easier today because we're not going to be drilling holes. We're going to be showing you some of this range from Hylec that's pre-assembled. And what can you get, Gary?
You can. So if you look here, they've already put the 22 mil holes in and put a stop button and a start button in there already for you. Or in this one, you can put your own buttons in. Which can you have?
Yeah, well, you can have up to 4 buttons in there.
You can.
But you're right, a lot of them come pre-labelled. You've got start and stop. You can have up or down.
Oh, right, okay.
You can have forward or reverse. And obviously you can have a popular emergency stop, all pre-labelled. But perhaps you've never experienced the world of industrial control stations before, so let's have a look inside to see what's in there. We've got a rotary activator switch here. Good thing on the Hylec range, it comes with 2 contact blocks, a normally open and a normally closed. So here's our normally open one. You see the green flag appears when the contact is made, and we get continuity, and then obviously goes open circuit when we turn the actuator the other way, and there's our normally closed contact block with the red flag.
Okay, so what happens if I wanted to replace that or take it out, Gordon? How easy is that?
If you want to remove the switch assemblies, it's just a case of simply moving that operating lever at the top, and then you just pull them off. And yeah, so a lot of these units have, older designs, you might find a screw there, that obviously that is a little bit more complex.
What about terminating conductors into those themselves, Gordon? Okay,
standard across all sort of industrial control stations, there's normally room for two conductors per terminal.
No doubt there'll be a bit of ferrule action coming up here, is there?
Here we go. Almost like a ferrule. So there's our first conductor. There's a little metal tab across that across the screw conductor, so they're quite not liable to damage the conductors. So again, 2 ferrules in there, and then just tighten them up with the screwdriver.
Okay, so makes a nice firm connection, and ferrules are always better. We do like a ferrule at eFIXX. I'm sure as we pan back now, we're going to have a bit of ferrule action, are we?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Where would you want to take me next then? Okay,
so let's have a look how you might have to change the actual actuator itself. So here's an emergency stop. You'll notice there's a tab on the side. Quite important that, because obviously when you reset an emergency stop, you've got to rotate it, and that stops it rotating unintentionally.
Okay. So
again, just drop that through and tighten up the lock ring on the back. And here, if we want to actually replace a contact, so a lot of the time it's very easy, just unhinge the contact from the top, a bit like a DIN rail component.
Oh wow.
Bring in a replacement, clip it in at the bottom, and just click that into place.
Well, that was simple then. So we took a look at an emergency one there with a contrast colour of yellow with a red stop button. What are the colours they come in? Routledge, eFIXX.
You can get them in grey and black combination, or a grey and grey, or a black and black if you want to go absolutely wild.
Okay, let's see how we fix these to the fabric of the building. So I'm going to mount the back of the enclosure to, in this case, the wooden wall. You notice that the 4 fixing points, Gordon, are on the outside of where the IP rating needs to be kept for the enclosure.
Yeah, it's a great feature, that. So it means obviously your mounting arrangements are outside of the IP rated area, so you're not going to interfere with that as you mount it to the wall.
So mounted in all 4 corners. Before then we look at obviously installing a gland into the box itself afterwards. So next up, we've got a gland. What's really important about the gland, Gordon?
Okay, we've got the all-important O-ring seal on there as well, so we're going to make a good IP rating. It's threaded, and it's going into a threaded entry that you've pre-drilled out with the required 20mm hole. Yeah,
it means you don't need a lock nut or a lock ring, and then just nip it up. Remember, you want to maintain that IP rating of the enclosure. Before we go on to the next bit, which is having a look at this raised edge here, Gordon. What's so important about this?
Well, so that's the 2 parts of the gasket. So you've got your raised edge, and then you've got that nice gasket, silicon gasket at the front, and they just go nicely together. 4 screws to keep it in place. They're held reasonably well in place, they're not going anywhere.
Okay, and then yeah, just tighten up all 4 before we'll have a look at the stop button itself. So just nip these down, and these go down relatively easy and maintain the IP rating as the 2 front and back marry each other together. And just finish it off with the last one. And then got the stop button. I had quite good fun with this, so you know what's going to happen now, Gordon?
You're going to push it.
Yeah, and you can see it locks down in order to release it.
Have another go, Gary.
I'll have another go, yeah.
Treat yourself.
Treat myself, yeah. Here we go, bang. Yes, I like that. Standard arrangement.
So you mentioned IP rating there, but what IP rating are they available in? Here's eFIXX.
IP56 and IP66.
Oh, yes. Brilliant answer. And obviously that depends on the type of switch you got. Obviously the difference between just the regular push buttons and those turn switches as well. Well, a bonus question since you got that one right. And what material are they made in?
We're going with ABS.
Oh, well done. You must have read this data sheet and experienced the product, Gary. So your next bonus question, Gary, what does ABS stand for?
We'll need to confer. I haven't got a clue. It's a long chemical name. Can you remember it?
That's a very long chemical name, and really we don't care.
Okay. We don't know.
That's the right answer.
Okay, thank you. You've seen we've had some fun with these buttons, haven't we, Gordon? But what can they actually be used for?
Well, okay, this is, well, apart from pub quizzes actually, and yeah, industrial challenge, yeah, this is actually a palm switch. So say you had a gloved hand or something like that, but you can also use them with your foot.
Okay, so they're a foot and hand switch, okay. So turning on and turning off, obviously identified by colour as well.
You can get them in black as well. You can have a black button.
Okay. What if I don't want a button on it?
Well, you can just buy the box itself, and we have looked at the Hylec enclosure range. Of this forms part of it, so you can have this blank. You can drill it yourself if you want to get your whole saw kit out. And obviously they come in 2 different depth options as well, so depending on the wiring system, or if you want a bit of extra room to put some other components in there.
The control system for Hylec, we've had a small look at it today. We're always interested in your feedback. Which type of emergency stop buttons, key switches and start buttons are you using? Are you using the one from Hylec? Please leave them comments below and we'll try and get back to as many as we can.